Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is my husband Bill. We were put in contact with SGM in 2019. I was 19 weeks pregnant with our son Billy, and we found out at our anatomy scan that he wasn't going to be with us very long, and we met with Deb McCann and Aaron Morris maybe a couple of weeks after that. We're still very much in shock and hadn't even really taken it in as far as what was going to happen. And they were a part. Yeah, they were incredible. They were there our whole journey with us. They met us at the hospital to help plan his birth and spoke up for us about accommodations that would be very much needed and helpful. And most importantly, they were there when he was born. They got to hear him cry with us. He lived for a miraculous 6 days, and they were there for us when he was gone too. So what we want to say the most is about them and how much they have meant to us over the years. They've, been with us through everything with Billy, and now we have our rainbow baby Alice, and she's 2, and it's just so meaningful to have someone there who has been through something similar and understands us on that level, because and especially who wants to be there with us even though they didn't know us before then. So we really, really appreciate them.
Their courage just meant a whole lot. I mean, they were there during the height of the COVID quarantine, with everything, with just between the hospital and taking photos, and helping with wonderful memory making that we have.
Yeah.
Just grateful for them, grateful for Kelly with the walks. It's definitely been an honor to meet her. Definitely grateful for the friendships we've made through here. As Aaron and Deb said, it's the most supportive group that you never want to be a part of, and it's definitely very true. But
it takes very special people to do this, and we know that, and that's
every one
such
of you
an
doing
amazing
this
gift.
is just incredible, and we're grateful to God for you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Hi, Sufficient Grace. We just want to say we love you, and we're so thankful for all that you do for us here at St. V's. Love you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Casciotti. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist here in Toledo, Ohio, and I'd like to thank Sufficient Grace Ministries for providing me with a wealth of knowledge and education.
Hi, I'm Tracy Griffith. I'm one of the OBGYNs at Mercy.
I'm Saya Ibrahimian. I'm one of the residents. And I'm Sarah Wyant. I'm also one of the residents.
And we just wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on your 20th anniversary. What an incredible accomplishment. Sufficient Grace is such an amazing organization. We're so grateful for your services for our patients. As an OBGYN, it's such a helpless feeling to diagnose a stillbirth or a fetal demise or a neonatal demise. And as much as we want to be there and spend time with our patients, a lot of times our clinical duties keep us from that. So to have volunteers willing to come in and really spend the time and create memories with the patients has been so incredibly invaluable, and we cannot thank you all enough for all the work that you do.
Thank you so much for all you do for our patients.
Thank you guys so much. You truly make such an incredible difference at our hospital.
Happy anniversary.
Yay!
Hi, my name's Chelsea Mueller. Excuse my voice, I lost it, so it sounds a little froggy, but I just want to say how much Sufficient Grace means to me. I am a labor and delivery nurse, but I also am a mom to 2 angels, Walker and Sawyer. So I've worked with them in many different capacities. As a nurse, I can't explain enough how much they mean to our patients and how lucky we are to have a service and a ministry like them at our hospital to help these grieving families. I cannot thank them enough for that, and they have been there for people in their darkest times. And I have a different view of things as a nurse just because I've gone through it myself, but most of the nurses haven't, so they really aren't sure what to do in those situations. So Sufficient Grace steps in and, you know, gives those mementos to the patients and knows, you know, just the right things to say and all sorts of things like that. As a mom, I could not be more grateful for Sufficient Grace and their wonderful, wonderful volunteers that are with them. They helped me through the worst day of my life, and they've continued to help me along the way, just through the grieving process and, you know, their events that they have yearly, the fundraisers and whatnot. It's just so great to stay in touch with all of those people and their support groups and everything. But I just cannot say enough good things about Sufficient Grace, and I'm so happy that we have them around here to help us, because they are truly, truly angels on earth, and I tell everyone I know that. So I love you all at Sufficient Grace, and thank you for everything you've done.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Mingus. I am the mom of Victoria, 2012, and Garnet, 2024. I have been a volunteer with SGM for 2 years in various capacities, but my heart is with the support group. I have been a regular attender of support group for over 6 years. I realized sometime after my first support group that I attended that I never wanted to leave, and they haven't been able to get rid of me since. SGM is so dear to my heart because when my daughter Victoria passed away unexpectedly after her birth, and I felt so alone, no one was there encouraging me to take the time to be her mommy and just love her. I didn't know it was okay to bathe her and dress her and spend time with her. It all seemed taboo. The hospital gave us a few memory items and we did get pictures, but we didn't have anyone comforting us, nudging us, and telling us it was okay to love and appreciate our little girl, and that this would be the only time we would have to do that. Once I connected with SGM, I knew how important this work was and how it truly changes stories for these families. Years ago, the loss of a child was hushed. Don't talk about it. Try to forget about it, the parents were told. But parents don't forget. We never forget. We remember every milestone we missed, birthday we passed by, and for the longest time we suffered alone. When I lost Garnet to early miscarriage in January 2024, I already knew I had a supportive group of people to stand by me in my pain. Knowing I wasn't alone and wouldn't be judged by how I chose to honor and remember Garnet made a difference in the healing process. Knowing I had a safe place to be after this loss made a huge difference in my mental and physical recovery. SGM is an organization that is changing that through their amazing and comprehensive training and compassionate workers and volunteers. The friends I have made would not likely be people I would normally connect with, but through shared losses and truths, emotions and stories, the lives of our little ones, and the love and support we show each other is imperative on our journeys. I look forward to connecting with people who understand, who feel what I felt, and encourage and love each other free from the boundaries that exist in society. Child loss is common statistically. You or someone you know have been affected by pregnancy or infant loss, even if they do not talk about it. Bringing awareness to child loss changes the stories, not just for the families served, but for future families who haven't walked here yet. They can know they're not alone by the awareness people and groups like SGM are bringing to pregnancy and child loss. SGM is full of the bravest and most courageous servants of the Lord that I know, making impactful and life-changing strides in how pregnancy and infant loss is seen by others and cared for by medical personnel, and helping people know how to respond to parents walking through it. Because nothing will ever be the same, and we cannot go back. We can only blaze the trail forward.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and to try and squeeze in the blessings and impact that Sufficient Grace Ministries has had on my family is next to impossible, but I will try. This is a picture of my daughter, Selah, and she was born in June of 2017. She had anencephaly, and so we knew that we were carrying her to say goodbye to her, and she lived. God gave us 36 amazing hours with her, and Kelly Gherkin was actually able to be my support person along with Deborah, our doula, and the amount of memories that they captured and the amount of stress that was relieved from my shoulders and my family's shoulders. We were able to just live in the moment and just soak in those beautiful hours with our daughter, and to know that the memories were going to be captured was such a relief and such a blessing, and made that time so much more sweet. And one of my favorite memories was right after we had our pastor dedicate Selah. All of our family was in the hospital room with us, and right afterwards, I don't remember the song, so I apologize, but Kelly sang the most beautiful song, and we just all just were together, and just in that moment, I felt God's presence, and to know that God gave me a child, and for a reason that I still, her life is still unfolding in our lives, but to know that God placed Selah in our lives, and He placed us in the path of Sufficient Grace Ministries, is a blessing that I am so thankful for. And to know that they are blessing others in the same type of journey in different situations of grieving, I'm just honored to have been a part of it, and I thank God for Kelly all the time. All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Amara Wilmore, and on January 30th of 2024, I lost my twin daughters, Zara and Zaina. I was 20 weeks pregnant when I went into preterm labor. That day literally haunts me, but with Sufficient Grace, they were right there for me. And at 6 p.m. I went into labor, and everything was moving so fast, and next thing I know, I had nurses telling me about a program with Sufficient Grace and having them come out. I agreed, not knowing much that was going on because of everything that was happening. When they got there, Jen, who I love dearly, helped me out so much. All these pictures she helped me capture, and I actually got to see my daughters. I got to pick out their clothes, pick out their dresses, little hats, little bobos to put in their hair, and just actually get to do what it feels like to be a mother. So for Sufficient Grace, it has been nothing but a tremendous help. And with meeting with the support groups and meeting all the other mothers and understanding that I'm not alone during this process really helps. Sufficient Grace has really shaped me, and I'm very glad and lucky that I found them. Thank you so much, Sufficient Grace.
Hi, Kelly and the Sufficient Grace Ministries team. My name is Natalie Yaney, and I'm the neonatal director for the Fetal Care Center at the Cleveland Clinic. In my role as director, I organize most of the complicated management plans for caring for babies after birth, and that includes babies who will have a comfort care or a palliative care plan. When I'm thinking about the plan and counseling parents about what to expect, I introduce Sufficient Grace Ministries and the perinatal doulas as almost an essential aspect of best care. And there's a couple reasons for that in my mind. The first is that I can't control the timing a lot of when babies will deliver. I can't control sometimes the staff who will be on that day or night and their experience levels and their comfort levels. But if I'm working with Sufficient Grace Ministries, I know that the doula will have training and be experienced, and that's invaluable for families. The second reason is the reliability that's brought by the Sufficient Grace Ministries doulas. I feel that our communication as a team, even though Sufficient Grace is obviously a volunteer group and we're paid salaried for the hospital, I feel our communication is very good. And I think that comes through with consistency for the family. I just want to let you guys know that we're incredibly grateful, my whole team, for what Sufficient Grace Ministries brings to our patients. And we're hoping, that we'll be able to continue to work together for quite a while. Thank you.
SGM means so much to me, so much to my family, so much to everyone that got to witness you in our lives in a season when I was pregnant with our daughter Glory and a fatal diagnosis was ahead of us. It was such a lonely season and it was scary. And when I met Shannon Sasseville and Tian Wilkin for the first time, and they were kind of able to create a space where all my feelings were normal, but also share with me how to navigate this. It was unbelievable. It was a godsend of all godsends. You women changed my life. Patsy was a part of the team and came to the house to ultrasound Glory. And so I got to spend extra time with my daughter. And you guys spoiled and showered me with gifts. You took such great care of my daughter on her birthing day, but you took such great care of me and my family. You are our friends for a lifetime. You have been in my home. You have shared holidays and celebrations with us. I can't thank you enough. You matter so much. The work you do matters. It is so selfless. I deeply appreciate it. I feel like time stood still during that season of our life because you were there and I could live in the present. I could love on Glory because I kind of had this predictable process in the most unpredictable time. I had peace when it made no sense. I had joy when it made no sense because I was so loved. You represented the grace and love and compassion of Christ, and it really reflected in the way that we walked through that season. I don't know how anyone could do it without you. I love you guys dearly. You went above and beyond. You know what you did. You showered me with gifts on birthing day. You showered Glory with gifts and bracelets and homemade items. And you spent so much time doing photography and videos and keepsakes. You helped me plan Glory's funeral. You were at Glory's funeral. Like, it's one thing to like serve a family as you're giving birth, and birth is long, and you take time away from your family and your own children to be there with us. And I just think you guys are the most selfless people on the entire planet. I love SGM. I pray that everything you do is blessed beyond measure. You're amazing, and I love you so much.
Hi, my name's Beth Moore, and I'm a maternal fetal medicine specialist in the Dayton, Cincinnati area. I previously practiced at Kettering Hospital in Dayton and currently practice at the Christ Hospital in Cincinnati. And I have used Sufficient Grace Ministries and their services for the past 4 to 5 years, I think, and it has been life-changing. I am shocked to hear that it's been 20 years in the making already, which is wonderful. Kelly has done such an amazing, amazing thing. I can't even begin to explain what this program has done for my patients that I've referred to SGM. It has truly been life-changing for these people going through such a terrible time in their life, as I'm sure most of you know. I heard something this weekend at my church that kind of resonated with me and reminded me of this. And in Corinthians, it says God comforts us all, or is the source of all comfort. And in doing so, he comforts us, which therefore allows us to comfort others. And by comforting others, it then also kind of swings back and comforts us again, is sort of another form of therapy for us as well. It's this beautiful cycle that we can be there for one another and help each other. And that's the epitome of what Sufficient Grace does, in my opinion. I cannot speak more highly of them and their services, and I thank each and every one of you for doing what you do. It is an absolutely thankless job, and I know you spend hours upon hours and have all the caring vessels in your heart that you can put towards these patients. And I can't say enough wonderful things about you, and I appreciate you all more than you ever know. Please keep doing what you're doing. You make a difference. You make a huge difference in not only my patients' lives, my life and their families, and extended beyond, oftentimes to all the medical personnel in the hospital who may or may not even be familiar with a service like this. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing wonderful work, and it does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. So keep up the great work. I appreciate it. And congratulations or happy anniversary on the 20th anniversary.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm making this short video just to say thank you to everyone who works with Sufficient Grace Ministries. It's your 20th anniversary, so congratulations. And I just want to say from my family to all of you, thank you for everything you do. I'll just share a little bit about my story and a little bit about how Sufficient Grace Ministries really helped us in our time of need. And I hope this video just lets you guys know just how important all the work that you do is. So my son, Richie, was born on February 2nd of this year. So it's still pretty fresh for us. When we were pregnant with him, he was our second son. So we have another son named Ryan. He is a little over 2 years old now. And when we learned we were pregnant with Richie, Ryan was so excited to be a big brother. We were, obviously very excited. Everything went well. I had like a feeling that something was wrong, and I kept telling my providers I felt like something was off. But all of my scans were normal. Everything was looking good. We did all of the testing ahead of time. Everything came back clean. And then around 24 weeks, unfortunately, we had a high definition scan. They were having trouble getting views of his heart. And so they sent us to the high risk doctors. And around 24 weeks, they said that he had a number of conditions that were not compatible with life. So that morning, the list just kind of kept going on and on. They said his heart had several congenital problems that I don't remember all of the medical terms, but it was essentially a single ventricle heart with super hypoplastic aorta, and it just wasn't going to be able to support him. If it had only been his heart, there might have been surgeries to try, but it still would have been pretty risky because he was also growth restricted, so he stayed pretty tiny. He had a couple of brain anomalies. His feet had some differences. His kidney was very tiny, his left kidney, and he had a diaphragmatic hernia, a hole in his hernia that allowed some bowel and his liver to come up into his chest cavity, which meant his lungs never grew to the right size. It was very devastating to get this news. And after some time to process, my husband and I decided to continue the pregnancy. We had already named him. Richie was actually named after my brother, Richard, who had already passed away as well. So it felt a little bit like a compounded grief, losing Richie on top of losing my brother, who we named Richie after. It just was a lot for us to take in. And we weren't sure how we were going to tell Ryan about everything. And so we decided to continue the pregnancy. We kept going to appointments. We decided we were going to learn everything that we could about this little man and kind of trying to prepare what to expect. And the doctors, we did a million scans, but ultimately they kept saying, we do not know. He may live a couple days. He may live a couple minutes. He may live a couple hours. There's no way to know. And so I feel like I had prepared myself. Our son's probably going to pass away in just a few minutes, but I'm going to cherish that time with him. We want to meet him alive. But as we had more and more meetings with the palliative care team, and they kept saying, we need to prepare for the possibility of days or even up to 2 weeks, and you might have to take him home and have hospice care. I really got it in my mind that it would be so wonderful to spend a few days with Richie. And so we started preparing for that possibility. And around that time is when a friend told me about Sufficient Grace Ministries, and our chaplain actually connected us with them. So I had a Zoom call ahead of time. We made a birth plan. And that, I think, was really helpful just for me to start picturing what was actually going to happen during the day of Richie's birth. Because I'm not like, I don't do a lot of celebration things. I don't like pictures necessarily. I'm not like a keepsake kind of person. So when they were telling me all the things that Sufficient Grace Ministries offers, um, like a teddy bear with his heartbeat, or they can take footprints and handprints and pictures, I was like, no, I don't need all of that. I don't want a big box of stuff. I just need a couple pictures and that will probably be fine. And I'm so eternally grateful that they said, we're going to put these things in the plan and we're going to collect these mementos for you. And if you don't want them later, you can always get rid of them. But if you do want them later, there's such a limited time to gather those materials when your son's life will be brief. So I shared this written birth plan with my doctor, who was so gracious, allowed everything. And on the morning that Richie was to be born, February 2nd, we decided to have a party. So we had a bunch of balloons and we had gift bags for the OR staff, and we brought in cupcakes later. We had a treat train the whole weekend that we gave to the nurses. And we basically just decided that no matter what happens, this is celebrating Richie's life, because with all of his anomalies and with his growth restriction, it was even a miracle that he would be born alive. There was a lot of possibility that he wouldn't survive to birth. So, no matter how long he lived, we decided this is a celebration. And so that morning we heard his heartbeat on the monitor, and then my husband and I got to walk hand in hand down to the OR for my planned C-section. And then we had written letters to Richie and we had written a prayer. So before we did the C-section, we got to say our prayer. And then Sufficient Grace Ministries had sent remembrance photographers. So we got to document all of this, which I will cherish forever. And then when Richie was born, unfortunately, with that hernia and with the brain anomalies, he didn't open his eyes. He didn't cry. He took one big giant breath, maybe once a minute. It was very slow. He was already essentially passing away as soon as he was born. And so they brought him right to my chest, and we had these letters we had written for him. So we got to read him a letter. My husband and I each read ours. And I remember I think it was a nurse. She said, you gave him, like, my words were a whole lifetime of love, so even though his life was brief, we got to say everything we would have ever wanted to say. I was really grateful for that. And then our main request had been that he would meet our son alive, my son Ryan. I wanted him to meet his little brother alive. And so they scooped us into the PACU as fast as they could. And Ryan did get to meet Richie alive, and we have photos of him meeting him as well. So we've got photos of Richie's whole birth experience, photos of him meeting his brother alive, and then he passed away in the first hour. But because someone had donated cooling cots to the hospital, we did get to keep him in our room for the next couple of days, just as we said our goodbyes. And we even got to have family come and visit and see our beautiful son. He was beautiful. He was 4 pounds 4 ounces. And during this time, our photographers, they took pictures of us with Richie. We got to take pictures of his baptism. We got to take pictures of his first bath. We even kind of went rogue. The nurses let us. We bundled him up and hid him under a blanket, and they snuck us out to an outdoor patio so we could have family photos at the hospital that didn't look like we were in a hospital. And that was Sufficient Grace Ministries. That was you volunteers who made that happen. And, in our time of grief in the hospital, I couldn't think, I couldn't process what was happening. Everything felt just so confusing and sad. And I felt like I had a million things to do. I was trying to navigate how to get family to come see him and choosing a funeral home and signing papers for an autopsy, and you just don't have a lot of bandwidth. And so I'm so grateful that the girls took Richie's body and got beautiful photos of him, and they did all of the things, the handprints and the footprints, and we put some handprints on a canvas, and Sufficient Grace Ministries sent us a canvas with some detailed things that we had shared would be special to us. And yeah, I just want to show you some of the pictures. This one especially is one of my favorites. And they took some pictures of his baptism, which were really special. So I didn't think before Richie was born that I would want a bunch of stuff in a box, or, I didn't know if it would be too painful or if it would, not be something I would want. But honestly, the grief that you feel after losing your child, I just didn't want to get out of bed. I still don't know if I want to move forward. It's still really painful, but oh my gosh, looking at these pictures feels like sometimes the only thing that can even take the edge off of this pain. And I am just so grateful to have these pictures, the Dropbox that they ended up sending me with all of his photos. I can access it from my phone, so I can pull it up anytime, and I just stare at those photos. I go through them so often, and I don't know, I just feel so grateful. It feels like even though I didn't get the time to hold my baby and to look at him and to bring him home, I have these photos that I can look at as much as I want, and I love all the details. And yeah, I don't know how to explain how much it matters, but it does. I'm just so grateful that I have these handprints and these footprints, and I got to bake the clay mold when I came home, and all these things feel like it's something that is honoring Richie's legacy today. So I can look at a photo today, or I can squeeze the teddy bear. I wear the forget-me-not bracelets, and I think about him, and I share about him when other people ask about how many children I have. And I want to highlight to Erin, my remembrance photographer. There's not many people in our area, so a lot really falls on her. And she not only was with me through the whole hospital experience, had helped write my birth plan, but she also came to Richie's memorial service. She texts me, here and there to make sure that we're still doing okay. And she even got to talk to my husband about her husband's grief, because men, grieve differently than women, and everyone grieves differently than each other. So I just feel like the amount of support and love that we had was far beyond anything I could have imagined. And probably without this support, I don't know, I'd be in a dark place. So I'm rambling a little bit now, but I just want to say happy 20th anniversary, and thank you so much for anticipating the needs that people will have that they might not know until after their experience. And thank you for giving me all of the photos and the mementos and just the wisdom and the time and the care and the love, because that will forever be cherished. And I don't think in the moment I would have been able to do that without your guys' help. So thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Molly Williams. This is a video for Peggy, or Saint Peggy as we so fondly call her in our household. Peggy was with us when we delivered our son Gabe, who was right behind me, and then right there as well. Gabe had full trisomy 13, and we could not have gotten through that without Peggy. The delivery that whole time was so difficult, and she's been such a lifeline for Chris and for myself. And then Peggy was just with us a couple days ago as we welcomed Gabe's little brother, Augie, into the world. She came down with us, and she got to be a part of that too. And oh my goodness, sorry Peggy. But she's just been such a huge part of our life, and she's brought us so much joy, and it just meant the world to her, the world to us, having her with us as we brought Gabe into the world. And then again when we brought Augie, because
that's so scary. And it just gave us so much peace knowing that Peggy was there and helping us. So, Peggy, we say it all the time, but you are one of a kind, and there is no one that could replace you. And we miss Gabe every second of every day, but we really believe that he brought you into our life for a reason, and we couldn't imagine anybody else being with us during that time, and even now, that would have been a better fit for us than you. So, before I get too emotional, Chris and Augie and I just want to say thank you so much, and thank you for being there for us and for always supporting our losses. We also lost 2 others to miscarriage, Lucy and Jude, and Peggy's always just acknowledged them and has always shared her story of Alex with us, and it means so much to us. So, Peggy, we love you so much, and thank you for always being there for us. We hope we see you soon. Bye.
Hi, my name is Brittany Smith. I am 24 years old, mother of 2, with 1 being an angel baby. And I am going to tell you why Sufficient Grace has helped us so much. We got the opportunity to have Jen as our support giver, and she's helped us so much, especially with all of our questions. As parents, you're never supposed to go through losing a child, but it does happen, especially with them being dead inside of you, pregnant. It's an awful feeling. It's a weird feeling, but there is cases. My daughter Nova got diagnosed with Potter's syndrome. She never developed her kidneys or her bladder, and we wish they caught it on time, but again, there was no way of her living. So we actually did a Zoom call with Jen, and she told us all what the program does and what she does, and we agreed to have her there at the hospital with us. And I am glad that she was there. I'm glad that everything that we wanted personally, she was able to do and more. We got family pictures done with me and her dad and our son. And we got other family pictures with her grandparents and her uncles. And I just want to say, if you're going through something, reach out to people, especially like this group. None of this is easy. It's hard. I still have a hard time expressing my feelings because this should have never happened to our daughter, but it does happen, and we will be getting testing done to see if it might happen again. Hopefully it doesn't, but I love the support that Jen gave.
I'm Holly DeGroff, and I'm from Millbury, Ohio. My son Jackson was born sleeping on May 17th, 2022. We were offered services at Toledo by Sufficient Grace. And with everything happening so fast, and we truly didn't understand what they were going to provide, that we simply declined. And it wasn't until after my stay that I learned about Sufficient Grace and what they provide to us mothers and families going through loss. I was able to have a fundraiser this past October and donate to Sufficient Grace in honor of my son, and I hope to complete that every year. I would just want to say thank you for the resources that you give us mamas and families going through loss.
Hi, ladies. I just want to say Sufficient Grace is an amazing, amazing organization. They do amazing work. They have helped our family tremendously, and we are forever grateful for you guys. We wouldn't have been able to navigate our pregnancy without you, and your support and everything you do is is a blessing. It's a blessing to the families. It's what's needed when you have to think about tough decisions that involve your baby. So keep doing God's work. You guys are a blessing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peggy Parcher. I have been a volunteer with Sufficient Grace Ministries for almost 5 years as a comfort doula. I am honored and so appreciative that Kelly allows me to go in and serve our families. It is something that is honored and truly a blessing to be able to see the story change with the families that we serve. It's something that I would not be able to do if it wasn't for our amazing crafters and all the other people that stand behind me to allow me to go in. The things that they do and arm me with as I walk into that room with so many beautiful things to share with them, to be able to help them see their baby and be able to take care of their baby. It's an honor and a privilege. It's something I have grown dear to do, and I am so thankful that Kelly allows me to be able to continue working for Sufficient Grace Ministries. I know that this ministry is something that she has put her true heart, soul, and life into, and I hope that we can continue to help Kelly do what she loves and continue to be able to serve our families as always.
To our dear friends at Sufficient Grace Ministries, there is no way that I personally or we as a ministry can truly express our gratitude in a mere short video. Your ministry and all that you are to Footprints on the Heart, other nonprofits, and grieving hearts all around the world is nothing short of the definition of His sufficient grace. I was blessed to be introduced to Kelly Gherkin online almost 10 years ago. Since that time, our ministry has attended the annual training numerous times, in person before and after the pandemic, online during the pandemic, and even brought the training to Georgia in 2018 to train our community. There is always new things to learn as we strive to best serve grieving families here in our community. It saddens me that I was unable to physically be with you all this week. You can rest assured, however, that I have been with you in my heart. Kelly, thank you for your personal mentorship, guidance, and most especially your prayers for me as a ministry leader. To all of the SGM support team, thank you for walking us through so many unique situations from states away. To every supporter and donor of SGM, know that you are impacting far more lives than you will ever know. I can assure you that every family that we have touched in our community is because of the generosity of you all and for Kelly's willingness to share her extensive knowledge with us, so that together we can all be the hands and feet of Jesus, that we might be a light in the darkness, letting them know that they are not alone. Thank you may seem like such a small thing to say, but we hope you can feel the love in our hearts as we utter those two words.